Hi, it's me, Karen, and I had made a card that I had put on Facebook, and one of my friends in the group had asked if I could do a tutorial on it. So I am going to attempt to do that. I've never done a tutorial, so you'll have to bear with me because I may goof up or something and have to redo it. And I'm sure you don't want to see me cut out all the stuff with my little cuddle bug, so I went ahead and cut out all the pieces I needed. Hopefully, I've got my fingers crossed on that one. So I'll show you what I used to cut everything out. This is a Spellbinders um, foliage. I don't know if I can get that to focus unless I get really far up, and it's probably not going to focus. Anyway, I use this leaf here, and on the back, it's this one. And these are ones that you can use just to cut out or emboss. So I also used an embossing pad, and that's this little wimpy thing here. I'm not crazy about this. It collects dust. Every time you cut something or emboss something, all the little pieces of paper get on it. But it's a useful tool. I just don't like the way it feels. So I used that die for the leaves on the card. And this is where I keep my other dies. And there's a round circle that I used here. And that's this piece. And I also use the embossing mat for this. And what you do is you just, I take this out. It's on a magnet here. I use this and I cut it out. And then you put when the paper is in here, you take off the excess paper. And then you just put the embossing mat on it and put it inside your folder and run it through. And it indents it so you get the embossing that goes around the edges on this. So I used that, and then I used this die. It's a Cherry Lynn die, and I believe this is the reverse one. There are two in this. They have this one, and then this one's a different color, but it's the reverse effect. And it's just called the Mini Fancy Flourish, and it's a small little die. They do have a bigger one that you can use, but this is the size it comes out. And it etches the leaves for you and gives you a nice rounded curls and everything. So that's I love that die. I use it a lot. Okay, and that's all I used out of that. This background is an embossing folder, and you just run it through and it embosses little flowers is what I used. It happens to be a cuddle bug, and gee, I don't know. Doesn't have a name on it. So it may have come in a set, but they're little flowers. You can use any kind of flowers because this is just a background piece. And that happened to be the only one that I had that had flowers. So we get this piece, and then we just use a regular, oh, I forgot this part. I use this punch, and I use the center piece. And I cut out 4 pieces. It's from the extra cardstock on the leaves. And then I just use a stamp, or I actually print it on my computer, and then I'll line that punch up and punch out the last piece. The card I made that I showed at the beginning was a sympathy card, and I didn't want to make another one quite yet. So this one I just used a stamp. It comes in this set, and it's right there, and it's called Short and Sweet by Stampin' Up. It's a nice little set. So that's how I did that. And what I'll do is I will get out the card stock and, oh, one more part. Sorry. Flowers. I use punches. Hold on, and I'll get those. Okay, I'm back. These are the punches I used for the flowers. Sorry for the glare. This is a little teeny tiny punch, and it punches out this size. And they are the smaller flowers I used. And this one punches out this size. And they are the bigger ones I used. And then I will show you what I did with those. I used the, it's 110 cardstock, and it makes it good for embossing, and what I'm going to do is take the embossing mat and one of the flowers, an embossing tool, and because I want the card to be dimensional, I'm going to take, it doesn't matter what side you use, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to push it down in the center of each petal, and they'll curl up, kind of give it a round, and then kind of down towards the center. The more you put pressure on this, the more it's going to curl. It'll also give this kind of a wrinkled look on the other side, which I kind of like. So then you have this kind of puffy flower, and then you set it down, and just in the center, give it a push. So then when you set it on a flat surface like this, and you'll glue it, it'll be puffy. It'll stand up and give you dimension behind there. I do that on all the flowers, and I also did it, even though the leaves have got dimension in them right now because of the embossing folder, I wanted them to kind of curl a little bit. So I just turned this upside down, because you have to do this one on the back side. And then I just ran the little ball kind of next to where the little embossed vein is. Because you did all that embossing, you don't want to screw up the leaf vein. Kind of enhances it a little bit and kind of puffs up the leaf. So then when you lay it down, it kind of curls. So it's, again, not a flat piece, and it'll give you dimension. So that's all I did on those, and what I'll do is I'll cut out the pieces and then I'll show you how I arranged it. Be right back. Okay, what I've done is I went ahead and cut this down. Now, that's another thing. I don't ever, and I'm going to say that again, ever measure anything. What I do is I just kind of take the card and say I want about that much room, and because the embossing folder cuts at a different size than your card is going to be, I just kind of measured the same distance from the flower edge to each side and double checked to make sure it would fit. And then I cut off a couple of rows so that the little spot down here and the little spot up here kind of matched together. Ended up being about the right size on the card, and then we just kind of measure a little bit, kind of wiggle it around. I put some ATG tape on that one. I put a lot because I live in the Northwest and we have a lot of moisture and it'll peel up, but I didn't want to waste the time with the glue. So then the next thing I did on the card was take this piece, and I want to set it up here because all the flowers are going to go down here, the sentiment is going to go about here, and I want to see the little pieces that hang out. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some of that tape on that, and then kind of figure out that'll probably look good. And as long as it looks kind of straight to the eye, we're going to plunk it down. Now see, I did not tape any or glue any of these little edges, so you get a tiny little shadow behind there, and that is what I need. I needed this part to be stuck down. So the next thing I'm going to do is take the leaves, kind of look at them, and see which ones I want where, and kind of something in that line. Then we're going to take our little swirly dudes and see if we want one up here, and then we want one that comes down here. I kind of want these hanging off the edges here and up at the top. Now there's pieces that you're not going to see, and because I want to put a little something over here, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to cut right here because I want to get two swirls out of it. So we're going to have a swirl up here, and the other one fell down over here, and a swirl over here that I'm going to put on the corner, and then this one can just get tucked underneath one of the leaves. Then I puffed up all my flowers so they look nice and puffy, And I'll be putting those around in some kind of area, the big ones first and then the little ones. And you see how they already look standing, you know, kind of with the shadow, gets dimension, kind of something like that. This is about the process I go through when I design something. I kind of throw it all down there, kind of give it a look and go, yeah, that's kind of what I want. I'll take it all off and start gluing. Inside of each of the flowers, I am going to put a little pearl. Now, because I want that to go up, and I know this piece doesn't need to be there, I can get rid of that. I'm going to take some quick dry, and this is Aleene's, and just put it on the leaves, very thin on the stems. So you don't have to use too much, it'll stick, but you have to have enough on there. Now, lay it down with my little leaf sticking up, kind of tap down the places. If I didn't get any on the other side, I will put a little on my finger and just kind of touch it down there. Hold it for a second. Okay, the same with the leaves. I wanted one coming down here. You have a little more room to put the glue on these. So I just kind of put it in the leaves, leaving the stem on this free. Because sometimes I will put it down and then kind of buckle up, kind of squish it a little bit. So I get a little movement on the stem. Okay, and then we'll put this one up here at the top. I know this isn't exactly the, I'm not very fast, so and we'll stick that one down. Give it a few seconds. There are other types of glues you can use, any kind of wet glue you want. You can probably use your glue gun on this too if you wanted to. I don't want a whole bunch of leaves, so I'm going to take a couple of those off and just let this one come down here. So he can go right about there. All right, now it's time to put on the flowers. So I just put a spot of glue on the back of them. Kind of give them a press in the center. I don't want to glue down the petals because I want them standing up. So this is just you know, placing them down. I'm sure you've all put flowers down before. Make about 5. I always like to put an odd number of both sets of flowers. And then we'll put in some little ones. Just wherever you think that they'll look nice. And I wanted to put a little one up here. A flourish. So we'll stick a piece here. And then run it kind of coming down like that. And then I kind of smush it off my fingers. Not a very neat crafter either. Okay, we'll stick some of the little guys up here. Whoops, that's way too much glue. there. Come on, off the finger. There. And then a few more guys down here. Okay, that looks good. Now I cut out 4 of these. I just got glue on that. 4 of these pieces because I want it to, number one, stand up a little bit, and I also want it, because it's the sentiment, I want it to kind of be a little stiffer, not so flimsy, I guess. So kind of make it look like a cardstock piece that you took out of someplace. So I just glue like 3 of those, and then of course the top one is going to be your 4th layer. Yeah. Another thing to know is it's a white on white card. You don't need to ink any of the edges because you'll have the shadows as long as you've kind of manipulated it a little bit. Then I just glue this part on. Card kind of at an angle. Try to make sure that it's even, straight. The only thing I have left to do is stick the little pearls inside the flowers. So I just set them in the center. It kind of makes them pop. I got these, they're like the Recollection pearls that you get at Hobby Lobby. You can get them at Michael's. So I just use the big ones in the big ones and the medium-sized ones in the little flowers. Sometimes not the easiest thing to do. It's the part probably that takes the longest. Especially if you're like me and get glue all over your fingers and you can't pick these little guys up. I get them with the... So I got 3 more over there. Now I hope this helps anybody out. I will put a link down below. Well, I've seen this card or something. It's very similar to it. I tried to not copy it exactly, but probably did a really good job. I saw it on Pinterest, and it was a sympathy card, and because I needed a card for that, I needed something that looked really nice. So I copied it, and I'll put a link down below, and then you can see it. So that is the card. So we got the pearls in, you got the dimension, you got the little sentiment. And now what I'll do is on the inside, I'll probably cut out another one of these little oval pieces and stick it on the inside of the card, just so it'll look a little prettier. Or I'll add some of these flowers because they don't really come up that high. Another thing nice about this is because it's not so dimensional, it nails good. So that is it. I hope that helps you out. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.